questions. Now, I've got the pleasure to introduce one of our co-hosts, of the numerous co-hosts, namely Alejandro Moreno Salamanca, who is the new dean. Well, I'm not quite sure. New dean, 5 years? So not new. Forget about new. Okay, but he looks so fresh and youthful. You know, I thought he's new. I just made that assumption. Anyhow, he's the dean, and he has an interesting background in as far as that he has education in management from Spain, and in particular he has been focusing on ethics and has made quite a name for himself on ethics. And we're very much looking forward to you sharing your ideas with us. Thank you very much.
It's a compliment that I don't look so devastated. I'm just saying that it's a kind of a compliment that I've been running the deanship and I don't look devastated already. So thank you very much. Thank you for your introduction. Well, this is the title of what I'm going to share with you, the ideas that I'm going to share, which is enhancing positive leadership to achieve social impact through education. First of all, let me say I'm honored to be here, and thank you for accepting me sharing ideas. As you said, I'm a PhD in management with a focus on ethics. So I'm going to try to put some of my academic background on my speech. So we are going to talk about education, leadership, business firms, and then I'm going to try to share with you what we do at INALDE on these realms. And just a quick note, we are also, as Horacio was saying, we are a graduate business school in Universidad La Sabana. We have two business schools separated. And we basically have three areas, which are executives, executive education, executive MBA, and the average age. Ignacio runs an MBA, which the average age is 38 years old. So it's a grown-up MBA. And also we have a middle management unit. Okay. So having said that about INALDE and this Universidad La Sabana, I'd like to start by sharing with you, guys, ¿me ayudan porfa acá con el pointer? There's a QR. I'm pushing estoy oprimiendo el verde. Okay, gracias. So I'm going to start by posing this question. What is it to educate? What is it to educate? What is it to teach? And of course, I believe it's not only to provide knowledge, it's not only to give, to grant skills, and to create attitudes. But I personally believe that educating is mainly about teaching students how to live with a reflective way, how to pose questions. Educating is teaching students to love to learn and to be humble, to realize that very often others are the ones who are right. And why do I start by this question? Because I think that if we want to have an impact in society, I think we need to think and to stop and think on what we think is educating. From my point of view, one of the beauties that INALDE has in the way we teach is that the main tool we have to teach is questions. So we professors are trained to question and to challenge ideas, of course by the case method as well. But this is very important because very often I see people like in the society not really understanding what is behind the movements, the social order, and all these protests, as you were saying this morning or in the sessions before. We are facing challenges all around. There are the yellow vest in France, there is Brexit in UK, the protests in Chile, in Colombia, so everywhere people are protesting. And very often I realize that our business men or the people don't really know why this is happening. And I guess this is because we have failed in a certain way to train people on posing the proper questions. So just a short comment on this is that I think that we, as business educators, need to make a big effort to show, especially businessmen, or at least, I have a theory on that, but at least to provide them or to make them question and try to get to an answer on why this is happening. Because of course there are authors, perhaps you have read the recent book of Michael Sandel, The Theory of Merit, and all these kind of movements who are raising the level of awareness of the need of overcoming inequality. But when you read those authors, you start to think, and in the end they are kind of offering the solution on socialism ideas or even communism ideas. And I believe that businessmen or the society in general are more open to social justice, to social order, but very often they don't realize that those ideas of subsidizing society or giving like grant incomes to poor people have to come from somewhere. And last week, for instance, I was in Ibagué, which is a city in Colombia where there are rice growers, and a big businessman told me, you know, I try to do a lot. In the last 2 years, I have granted 250 of my employees houses. So he's a very generous businessman. He have given 250 houses to their employees. And I told him what I believe. And have you thought about what type of idea of the economic system those people who have received houses from you are really supporting? And he thought, well, no. And I told him, well, you are the kind of example of a businessman who is doing what society is claiming to do. But very often your employees are voting for ideas who are against what you need or the system that is helping you to provide these houses to your employees. So the first thing I wanted to increase in relation to this education, posing questions, trying to understand, is in relation to these two concepts. What is it to lead, and why is it that the society is claiming, well, it's very clear to me why society is claiming more social order. But why is it that even our own employees within companies are voting for systems that are against the system that is helping us to provide them the wealth that we are distributing? So this is the first thing, because in relation to this, the ethical challenge of leading, I believe that the society is every day more sensitive to ethics, as you were saying, Boro. I'm an expert in ethics. I don't believe that the society is degrading. I believe that the society is, every day we are becoming better. One example of this is the half of this classroom or this room is full of women. Several years ago, it was not that way. And we thought that this was normal, that women couldn't vote, that women couldn't go to universities. And all this, to me, show me that it's not that the world is becoming more corrupt. To me, what is showing me what is happening is that the people are becoming more aware of social injustice. But then the problem is that we need to realize that within our societies, even our students don't really understand how wealth is produced and why nations that are collecting taxes are able to distribute these taxes. Because very often people vote and promote and sign ideas and manifests on, no, we have to give people, we have to give to the poor and so on. But again, to me it's very curious, for instance, that I have cousins who have graduated from international schools, private international schools, who are supporting ideas of socialism and anti-businessman ideas. And then I realized, and then I questioned, why is it happening? So the first thing that I wanted to say is that I think that very often people are not critical enough, and that people don't really understand the ethic and challenges that leading faces. For instance, people believe that the work of a businessman is very easy. Very often people believe that they have raised their wealth like without any effort. So I think we need to stop, think, and make them think about what they are really promoting. And the other idea is this: the impact of the business firm in the society. I believe, this is a personal opinion, but I believe that my grandchildren are not going to live in a capitalist society. The other day I was talking to the president of a bank in Colombia, and he told me, Alejandro, this is going to be sooner. And it made me think, because nowadays the real asset, the real resource that is very scarce is not equity, is not capital, it's talent. But on top of that, I think we need to make our students think about the notion of work and the notion of the social firm, because I believe that many people don't think or haven't thought about the business firm as the most influential institution in our society. We are actually teaching students about how to run the most influential institution that our present time has. It's not anymore the university, it's not anymore the church, it's the social firm, the business, the institution that is nowadays the more influential institutions. And very often businessmen don't believe or haven't thought about the power of influence that the business firm has in the society. And also I think we, at least in Colombia or in these countries where businessmen are being like exposed to public opinion, I think that very often businessmen tend to be ashamed of their activity. It's like if you were doing something that is not good, not pure, or not clean enough. Because society is trying to pose the idea that making money and creating wealth is something that is bad. It's very often behind the social protest and the disorders, the notion of these ideas. So I think that social support for businessmen is in danger very often because we haven't failed to show our students and the business world and also the public opinion the importance of the business and the wealth creation that is being created by the business to society. For instance, one of the recent comments of our new president, now that you, Enrique, were saying that we are facing for the first time the left wing, he is claiming that all people should get a minimum, half of a minimum salary as subsidized every month. Of course, this makes a lot of sense. And people say, this is fair. I mean, poor people, and even if you are older, you should get money from the state. But I would say that the majority of Colombia don't understand how the money to support these subsidies are created, how this money is created. So I think we need, and even Horacio, I would say that this could be one of the issues that we could start together, because I think I have family in Chile as well, and I think that even in the countries where you have different inequality situations, people are willing to be more ethical, to have more justice, but people are claiming against an institution that is actually the base that supports the possibilities to distribute this wealth. So this is like an introduction to show you like the 4 elements that we have prepared as a team in the sense of what we are in INALDE are doing, because I believe that even our alumni don't really understand why is it happening, what is happening in our countries. And again, I think this is not a phenomenon of the third world economies. This is happening again, as I said, in France, in Spain, in UK, because of course we want people to be better off, but again, businessmen, I think, are not really aware of what is behind these movements and the narratives that are behind. So very quickly, in INALDE, there could be other elements to share with you, but there are 4 key elements that we have procured at INALDE. So again, we need to think, are we training our students to make money which is not bad. But is it only for that, to have impact or to be happy? And then if we are training our students to be happy, I think that we have to reflect on what we consider happiness to be. What is for us happiness? And I personally, from the ethical point of view, I think that very often the society is selling us the idea that happiness is the lack of effort. Very often we work hard and hard and hard to reach a point where we can decide not to answer phone calls, or where we have the right to say to your, or not to have a boss, or to say to your boss, I don't care about you, or you are working, trying to get to a point where you have pension funds, guaranteed university for your children, and so on. So I think that we have to consider, if we are training people, our students, to be happy, we need to consider what happiness is about. And I have realized that actually happiness is about, and happiness is very much correlated to effort, to struggle. One of the things that we are more proud about that we have achieved are things that have cost us struggle, even blood behind this struggle. For instance, my PhD, it was very difficult to me, and I would like people to tell my children how I achieved my PhD. And it made me happy, the fact that it was difficult. So in relation to that, this correlation, mathematical correlation between struggle, effort, and happiness, I think that we sometimes tend to sell ideas about happiness that are wrong. And in relation to that, given the fact that we are a humanistic business school, we have worked on these 4 areas. So in relation to the first one, mission-driven ideas, actually our mission, and that's very, very much why I work at INALDE, is that our mission is to transform society through business and managerial activity, and to form, perfect, and connect businessmen and managers. And of course, this is very much in our curriculum, that you need to look for places and companies where the mission of the company matches your personal purpose, and there is fit between the two of these. So in terms of humanistic vision, I think there is kind of consensus nowadays that these issues of that the business firm is basically a money-making machine, or ideas like that are, I mean, there are people like Raxi Sodia, Conscious Capitalism, Judy Samuelson from the Aspen Institute about the 6 New Rules of Business, Charles Handy, and many more, who have put at the center of the company what that company is. I think we actually need to think about what a company is. And to me, a company is a community of people. And if a company is a community of people, you could even start challenging the ideas of what, or the notions of the owner of a company. This is actually what Charles Handy in UK does. He says, you cannot say you are the owner of a company, because this is a modern form of slavery. Because how can you own a company if actually a company is a group of people? As he says, you are the owner of the assets. And I believe that this is going to change in the sense that we are going to live in a free market economy, and I highlighted this free market economy, because actually when you restrict freedom, you are going against the main attribute in ethical terms of the human dignity. Actually, this is to me the reason why you should struggle to have a free market economy. But a free market economy perhaps not based on capital, but based on talent. And then, in relation to this, we try to embed in our curriculum this focus on what we do. And this photo is actually one of our teachers, one of our professors, a PhD from Finland, who is teaching, but is also working on issues that I'm going to explain you later on, because we believe that we need to hire and have in our faculty people who are trying, not that are, but that are trying to be coherent between what they teach and what they do, that they are trying to live what they teach. And also to teach students that a good executive has to be first a good person in order to be a good manager or a good executive. This is an example. This is what we wanted to share with you. For instance, actually this morning at 7 a.m. we launched the second group of this. This is a volunteering program where professors and executives of INALDE are lecturing small entrepreneurs who have no money to come to INALDE. INALDE is very expensive, actually. So, and this is actually something that struggles me. Why only rich people can get to INALDE? So what we are trying to do is to create spaces for businessmen. These are like owners of bread factories and very small businesses, where professors and executives of INALDE are teaching and are volunteering, training these small business women. So this is a way for us to try to help and to show some respect for these people. And these are actually the main characters, the protagonists of this. And then this is like where I'm going to spend a little bit more time, which is within the alumni community. I think that we need to realize that the main asset, even though, I mean, for us, we are graduates, the main asset is our alumni network. But we have very small alumni network. We have only 7,000 alumni. And when you have undergrad and graduate students, you have lots of students outside. And this is, for me, the main asset that we have at business deans, at business school deans. And we need to work with them. So what we have tried is to create, support, and encourage that community. For instance, we have WhatsApp groups, different lines of action that I'm going to show you. And we have tried to create within them a sense of purpose to work together, to try to change by small steps, different things. For instance, we have different contests where we give small prizes, get-togethers, and in these get-togethers, this is INALDE, this is a photo of one of the MBA promotion from more than 20 years ago. They got together, and this day they decided to create an initiative to help society within this promotion. We have also tried to create like this idea of profiting as a business school from their prestige, and to make them fall again with us as an institution. And of course, this helps a lot because when you invite people who have graduated from your school to give talks and to get together, well, there is a movement behind. For instance, this is, I guess, you, Maria Clemencia, know her, Catalina Escobar. She graduated from our MBA, and she's one of the social entrepreneurs that helps the most by far in Cartagena. She has a foundation that created after graduating from her MBA, where he attends lots of people. So these ideas of putting alumni together. And then, in order to give some time to comments, we have different lines of action. For example, in INALDE mission, where we have collected more than 3,500 Christmas presents, and our students are the ones who go there and give the presents. We have given more than 100 basic product kits for families, and also we have a network of alumni helping small and medium-sized enterprises to survive the pandemic. So I'm going to show you a little bit of these photos. And also, we have alumni teaching. We have taught our alumni how to teach, and they are volunteering teaching courses for people who are not able to come to INALDE. As the one I show you with employees of INALDE, we are doing it with alumni. And this, for instance, we as a university created a ventilator. The engineering school created and patented a ventilator. And we, as network, donated the funds and the resources for giving to 19 hospitals within Colombia in poor cities these ventilators to overcome the pandemic. Also, for instance, this photo is a classroom. There was a hurricane in San Andres Island, and we went there and we created a classroom where all the equipment and all that was given by alumni, and even with alliances with other companies. We did the same in a nearby city that is Zipaquirá. We are in Chía, so another classroom that we have gathered. This is, as you can see here in the lower photo, you see these are alumni of INALDE that got together where we gave this presence to the community around our school. And these, for instance, are a set of alumni who are giving consultancy for free in an alliance with the Bogota Chamber of Commerce, because there are many businesses that were facing difficulties. So we put together a set of businessmen to give consultancy to try to help other businessmen who didn't have money to pay consultants for free, and within the alliance of the Bogota Chamber of Chambers. These are examples of companies who have profited from these initiatives. This is the most recent. This was like 2 weeks ago with Banco Popular. Carlos Upegui is the president, and we got together again, and these are alumni of us that got together and are willing to give their time for free to help small and medium-sized enterprises So then, why do we do this? And this last one is the set of alumni who were getting trained by us in order to give then a course virtually to businessmen facing difficulties. So why do we do this? Why do we do this? Many reasons. One is that if we can help, we should help. When you do this, you get together your community, and actually in commercial terms, it helps a lot. Because when you show people that your alumni are willing to give time to your school shines, and you can shine through the shine of your alumni. So this is like a virtuous circle where actually we are facing much more incoming students. But this was not the reason why we were doing this. I mean, this is like the payoff of this, but this is not the reason. The main reason is that we were doing this because we thought that it was the best way to teach our students and our alumni how to help. And actually what is very, very interesting is that the ones who have profited more from these ideas and initiatives that I share with you is not really the people we have helped, the poor people or the small and medium entrepreneurs, but us as businessmen, as professors, as alumni who have enriched from this. So what we wanted to share with you is the idea of, I think we need to think if we are really being able to teach our students to think critically and to try to reach the cause of the social disorder that we are facing, and to try to understand that it's not that we don't do enough corporate social responsibility, but it's the fact that we are not being able to show even our employees the beauty of the system in which we are, which is producing wealth and then redistributing. And this is, I think, is the reason why these ideas against businessmen and are taking part in the political arena and are winning. Then also we need to teach the students the notion of work. Many people believe that work is a kind of a punishment. And I think that we need to challenge this idea. For many people, working is something to avoid. And then you need to start telling them, what are you going to do when you don't have to work more? Is it really that fulfilling not to have to work? Or is actually work the source of your dignity? And then also the notion of the business as an institution and the relevance and the influence that the business has in the company. And these were like the 4 elements we have used at INALDE, which have helped us a lot, and also have helped our alumni especially to feel more useful for our society, which is of course not an easy society because we face a lot of challenges. So thank you very much, and if you have any question or comment, or I am here to help. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have any time for questions. There's a short networking break now, but please be back for 5:15.
No, wait, there are...
Unfortunately, don't have time.
But I was looking at this watch. I mean, because...
2 minutes. Okay, you can have one question.
At least one, please.
Thank you, Alejandro, for your thoughts, for your ideas. Why do you think creating wealth and making money have like a bad reputation among young students? What happened? What went wrong?
Good, very good question, Ricky. I would say that the main problem is not that they believe that the wealth or being rich is wrong, but they are super sensitive to poverty. So it's not necessarily that they believe that creating wealth is bad, but they believe that these distances between rich and poor are very bad. And this, to me, is a good sign of humanity. But then the problem is not that they are sensitive or sensible towards poverty, but the problem is that many of them don't realize that the only way to shorten that distance is by creating more wealth. But this is the problem. It's not that they think that businessmen are bad. It's that they believe that the way to shorten that distance is by giving subsidies or giving money to poor. So I think we have failed in the sense that we have not been able to show them that the only way to overcome that is by creating more wealth. Having said that, you need to think that there are places where there are no poor, but still there is social disorder. So this is still the challenge, no? But at least to try to understand that many people are not aware that the only way to fund subsidies is by creating more wealth. So I think that in the universities we have failed because they don't understand how nations collect taxes and how nations are able to redistribute. I don't know, Andrew, there are more hands, but if you think we have stopped, we can. Okay, thank you, Sam. If you agree, or we can stop. Yeah. Because now I have to say there is in red already, not
thank
before.
You. Just to complement the question, it's because in some countries, for example, I will speak because I am from Bolivia. I come from the Bolivian private university. We are always looking bad because we are private, even though we are a university without profit, non-profit organization, but just because the name, everybody says you are rich, you have money, everything. But anyway, my question is, what role is playing politics, governments, social governments among this vision of making money is bad? I think that's these are the key players about creating that vision, because in other countries, I believe, in Europe and other things, I see that making money is good because you have a social responsibility and everything, but politics, especially in my country, plays a key role among the vision about private enterprises making profit, even though it's that the government lives from our taxes.
What your name was?
Yeah, my name is Vivian. I didn't
Vivian.
say it, sorry.
I don't know if you have read Michael Sandel. I have read 3 books of his. Michael Sandel is the one who wrote the recent book, The Tyranny of Merit. I think there are authors and scholars really concerned about social justice. But even those authors haven't realized that the claims that they have been posing to the public opinion are actually somehow a call to move to a more socialistic, left-wing society. against business. So I think that we need to consider that even authors who believe in the beauty of the free market economy, because they are socially sensitive, they are the ones who are influencing society to claim more social order, but they are not really posing a solution. I mean, I think we all believe that I believe that the capitalism and the democracy are the less worse systems that we have created. And of course, there are shortcomings for those systems. But we need to be aware that we have not been able to create anything better. So I think one of the reasons is because many people are, and we need to think about it, because sometimes we have like the enemy within the house. We try to teach businesses, but we are all the time telling businesses are bad, 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 and so on. So thank you very much for your time, and I think it's time to close. Thank you.